So we boarded Trump Force One at 2 a.m. on January the 7th. I even hid this from most of my own staff. Almost no one had any idea this was not to be leaked, not to be publicized. At 2 a.m., we got on Trump Force One and flew from Palm Beach to Nuuk, Greenland. 6-hour flight, 3-hour time change. Let's get all the videos, guys, up there and all the pictures, please. Landed around 11 a.m. local time as the sun was rising. The sunrise in Greenland this time of year is at 11 a.m. Get off the plane. And by the way, we are greeted by hundreds of people that are just curious. We then go to the top of a very sacred site in Greenland, the place where the first missionary actually ever came to Greenland from Europe in 1745. Yeah, that's it right there. That's right as the sun is rising. And all of a sudden, we started to run into people with MAGA hats all throughout Nuuk, Greenland. Now, mind you, the population of Greenland is 50,000 people. In Nuuk, it's something like 30,000 people, maybe. And all of a sudden, people are lining the streets asking Donald Trump Jr. for pictures, and they have MAGA hats. And there's people, by the way, there was a greeting group at the airport of hundreds of people. What was striking is how many people in Nuuk, Greenland watched the Charlie Kirk show, followed us on TikTok. They said, "Oh, I follow you on TikTok. Oh, I follow you on social media." There's one of the people right there with the MAGA hat who was working at the airport and greeted us with a MAGA hat on right as the Trump Force One was coming in. One of the ushers at the airport. We then went to a restaurant and we were literally so consumed by people, so overwhelmed, we had to go get a private room, and then we brought some of the local folks in. There's Donald Trump Jr. just with some of the workers there, signing MAGA hats, taking questions, talking to people. And we were there for 3 hours on the ground, and we learned a lot. Number one, it is so hard to do it justice. It's very, very hard to articulate. It's hard to show the pictures of just how beautiful Greenland is. I've been to Alaska. I've been to all parts of Canada. It is objectively one of the most pristine, overwhelming physical environments that I have ever seen. It's untouched. It's as raw nature as you can ever find, that you can ever come in contact with. It's like you are here and there is the wild. There's polar bears that walk around Nuuk. Polar bears. Very spiritual in many ways. Incredibly so. That's number one. Number two, talking to the locals and getting to know them. They can't stand their current Danish masters. They believe that Denmark, who is currently controlling of Greenland and of Nuuk, which is the largest city in Greenland, they are being mistreated. They do not like the status quo, and they want a change. They say that when they go to Copenhagen, which of course is the capital of Denmark, they are told by local Danes, go back to your home of Nuuk. You're not welcome here. They want to be part of a country that respects them, that gives them human rights. Right now, they said, quote, we feel like prisoners in our own land, that we are being controlled by these Danish masters who treat us terribly. And number three, which was the other takeaway, the people of Greenland are some of the sweetest. They are some of the kindest and warmest people. Incredibly authentic. Now, you might be asking, but what is the reason that everyone is talking about Greenland? Greenland is not just a fun issue to debate. There are very serious geopolitical reasons as to why the United States of America should assume control or purchase or whatever process the president ends up doing, back control of Greenland. Number one, Greenland is the northernmost land in the Western Hemisphere. and has critical military importance. The shortest route from America to Russia is actually across the North Pole. That's why we have actually a military base in northern Greenland, Thule Space Force Base, whose purpose is to monitor potential and possible missile launches. Greenland is the world's largest island. There are tons of resources buried under its ice cap. We actually don't even know how wealthy this country is. As a side note, a young boy comes up. He says, Charlie. I said, oh, hey, how are you? He says, I follow you on TikTok. I need to show you something. He shows me his phone. He says, in my village 3 hours from here, when we just kind of go out into the countryside, we find rubies the size of baseballs. I said, what? He said, we have rubies the size of baseballs in my village. Now, mind you, they're not as valuable as you might think because they need to be cut a certain way and they lose value, but they're very valuable. And he says, the Danes don't let us mine our rubies, our gold, our lithium, or our gas. He said, it's time for a rebellion against the Danes. The younger people of Nook, the younger people of Greenland, they want to be rich. And oh my goodness, do they have wealth in Greenland. Incomprehensible amounts of wealth. We are talking that Greenland could be the new Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Russia, Permian Basin, Marcellus Shale, and the Balkan all mixed into one. America should want those resources for our country, and Greenland should want them for their country. We'd be far more willing and able to develop them than Denmark and the socialist Greta Thunberg environmentalists from Copenhagen. In the long run, they will be developed by someone. There are three options of who will control Greenland: America, Russia, or China. America, Russia, or China. You're trying to tell me the Danish military is going to be able to fend off the Chinese Communist Party? Greenland is so strategic.